This week, Kamala Harris's campaign and the DNC announced an investment of nearly $25 million to support down-ballot Democrats. One of the candidates who could benefit is George Whitesides. He is currently engaged in a fierce competitive race against GOP incumbent Congressman Mike Garcia. If Whitesides can flip his seat to blue in November, it could help Democrats take back control of the House. And in his new campaign ad, Whitesides explains why he thinks he can do it.
I'm running for Congress because politicians have created more problems than they've solved. People are struggling with inflation and crime. So I'll get more funding for police and cut taxes for working people, not billionaires. I'll use my business experience to solve problems instead of playing politics.
Joining me now is Democratic congressional candidate for California's 27th District, George Whitesides. He is also the former CEO of Virgin Galactic and former NASA Chief of Staff under the Obama administration. Thank you for joining me, sir. You are a first-time candidate, so what makes you decide to run for Congress, and what would be your first priority if you were to win?
Well, thanks for having me on. And, I'm a problem solver at heart. I'm an optimistic problem solver who's not intimidated by big challenges. And, the reason why I'm running is because we have a dysfunctional Congress right now that's not solving the challenges of our community. And we're being represented by somebody who doesn't represent our values. I'm really looking forward to supporting reproductive freedom, defending democracy, and also addressing the catastrophic challenge of wildfires when we get to Congress.
The race is tight between Congressman Mike Garcia and you. You're up by 3 percentage points in some of the polls. How do you plan to hold that advantage and actually grow it between now and November?
Well, people are sick of Mike Garcia. So he is somebody who co-sponsored the national abortion ban, not once, but twice. He's somebody who voted to overturn the presidential election back in 2020. He's taken money from Marjorie Taylor Greene. And we're going to make sure that that everybody knows that, right? So one of the major things with districts like mine is we need to make sure that people know the extreme record and the votes that these Republicans are taking in Congress, because they don't always talk about them back at home.
With Harris jumping into the presidential race, the enthusiasm behind Democratic candidates has been high. And now with the down ballot spending, do you feel like that enthusiasm from the top is going to come down to your race?
Charles, we have already seen that enthusiasm. People have a spring in their step. We had dozens of new volunteers in the first few weeks. We've had thousands of new donors. We did 4,000 doors last weekend. So there's a great amount of energy, and the energy is on our side. Like, we have always been a people-powered campaign. We're centered on local job creation. I'm somebody who's created over 700 jobs in our district. People are hungry for that, right? And so we're going to keep emphasizing our major messages of, protecting Social Security, creating local jobs, and defending democracy, and I think we're going to be successful.
Congressman Mike Garcia released an ad this week claiming that he co-sponsored the Violence Against Women's Act, which is false. What are your thoughts on his misleading claims in that ad?
Well, look, it's not the first time that he's misled the voters in our district, right? So the LA Times called him out on that. He didn't actually vote for the Violence Against Women Act. He voted against it, right? And if you can't get that right in your very first campaign ad, I think you're not fit for being in Congress. But it's not the first time, right? This is a guy who basically did what looked like insider trading, trading some Boeing stock before his congressional committee came out with a very damning report on Boeing, and then failing to report that to the voters, as required by congressional regulations. He's somebody who's taken tons of money from the pharma industry and who's voted against enabling the government to negotiate drug prices. This is somebody who is not representing our interests or our values, and we got to make a change.
George Whitesides, thank you so much. I want to mention that we did reach out to Congressman Garcia, but we did not hear back. Don't go anywhere. More of The Sunday Show here on MSNBC after the break.